Hey, what's up, everybody? This is John Maggard from Trail Sick, and with me today I've got my brother from another mother, Merle Hacker. He's also my cousin.
That's
but
right.
yeah, we go way back, 2 decades or longer at this point. But today we're going to talk to you all about Warbird. So first of all, Trail Sick. Give us a quick rundown. Where did the Trail Sick name come from?
All right. So John and I, we went out west, 7, 8, 9 years ago now to do Breck Epic. And when we were out there, we had just the best freaking time ever was. And we were on our way back, and we had talked about kind of starting this brand, because we'd already talked about wanting to start a race and things like that. We're like, what's a cool name, And man, we were on the way back. We were looking for trails to ride. I remember we were coming through Kansas. We'd been mountain biking for 2 weeks. It's like, you think we got time to stop here and hit this mountain bike trail? And it was like we were homesick, but for the trails.
Yeah.
And so we started jotting down names, and I think I wrote down Trail Sick, and you're like, I like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you were not sold on it at first, but as soon as I read it, I was like, that's it.
Yeah. Here we are.
Yeah, you're kind of like homesick, but for the trail. So, long story short, that led us into our training for Breck Epic, led us into creating a sweet course for our War Daddy mountain bike race, which is a 68-mile course that Merle developed for training. And after riding portions of it and then going to Breck Epic, we were like, there's no better place in the country.
No, we gotta have a race
to ride or train, race, whatever, than Eastern Kentucky. All of our training, Merle lives in London, Kentucky now. I live in Louisville, Kentucky. But if we're training for a big event, always back to Leslie County, back home to Hyden, Kentucky, because the terrain is top notch, hard to beat. So now that we've put War Daddy on for 6 years, we got our feet wet with the mountain biking. We're diving in head first into the Warbird 100.
That's right.
So tell us a quick rundown of your ultra experience and how we got into Warbird.
Sure. So after Breck Epic, I was kind of burnt out. I had rode bikes a ton that year. I realized I can't train anymore, and I ain't getting no faster. So I'm never going to be on the top step. And life was changing at that time. Emily, my daughter, she was getting older, and I was just trying to prioritize time. And I was like, maybe I'll try this running thing out. So I'd ran a 50K back in 2016, and after Breck in 18, thought, let's do another 50K. Let's do a 50 miler. And dude, I just fell in love with it, because it's like mountain biking and running the same trail. It's like seeing the trail different,
Yeah.
It's like we've hiked, on the AT and stuff like that. It's just a different pace. It just looks different. And it was a way for me to get out there and sweat and just grind, and I just loved it. So got my feet wet, did a 50 miler. Before that, I thought, man, 100 milers crazy, but I'd love to be able to say that I've done that.
Yeah.
And didn't know that I'd ever be able to. Ran the 50 miler, suffered through it, and I was like, I've got 100 in me.
Yeah.
I've got 100 in me. So did No Business 100 in 2023. Loved it. Brian and Shelly run that race. They do an excellent job. Was going to go back last year for my double buckle. Ended up, long story short, I ran a pretty dumb race, came out way too hot, cooked myself, and ended up DNFing at mile 62, which was a blessing in disguise, because that's what led to this. If you've ever DNF'd, it's a miserable feeling. And I just
hard monkey to get off your back. Yeah.
So the next day I sat down, and we grew up in Leslie County. We knew we had this awesome trail system over there that we just needed to utilize more of. I'd always wanted to mountain bike it, but I thought, you know what? First time I see all this trail, it's going to be on foot. So I started putting together what is now the Warbird route, and didn't really know when I was going to do it. I thought, you know what, let's start the new year fresh. I talked to John, talked to the family. It was all going to be self-supported, but I needed a crew there to help me. And we got together, and New Year's Eve, we started out at like 6 a.m. and we got done sometime late on New Year's Day. It took a while, but here.
Yeah, so one special thing about our Trail Sick crew, our family that we have for Trail Sick, we get together every New Year's and we try to do some sort of epic ride or hike or run or something every New Year's. So that's kind of how it felt. Merle was like, everybody's going to be there on New Year's. I'm going to start New Year's Eve. you all can come crew, pace, whatever. So we had a bunch of guys jump in that helped out. I crewed all night long.
You did. Joe
Put a lot of miles in.
All night long. Yeah. And then hopped in with me at mile 72 and went through the mud and the rain and the muck. At this point, I'm moving super fast. I'm probably like
cooking
a mile and a half an hour. So it took a long time. John was out there. But, I mean, that is the cool thing about our group. And I think what makes War Daddy so successful is, like, the group of people that we have. Like, you know, we're going to take good care of you. And the same's going to be said at Warbird. But, I mean, I got this ragtag bunch to get together, 10 or 12 guys to come out New Year's Eve, take time out of their schedule just to help me run. Yeah. So imagine what they're going to do when we have 100-miler.
Yeah, it's going to be epic. So while Merle was running, while you were running this 100-mile route, in your mind, what were you thinking about the course?
How about it sucked? No. The whole time, I'll be honest with you, I don't even know if we've talked about this, but when I started that morning, and this is where we're going to start you guys. You start down at the Leslie County RV Park. You got a 1-mile climb up to this old strip mine.
Yeah.
And I started at 6 a.m. It's dark, and I'm up there with a headlamp all by myself. I knew I wasn't going to see anybody till that first 50K mark. And it was just, it's freaking awesome. I was like, man, this is where I grew up at. Like, I've been up here so many times on a 4-wheeler, but to set out knowing I'm going to run all this trail in one day with people I love and stuff, I was like, this is going to be so special. And get up on top, and it's like this old strip mine, so it's different. If you've never been to East Kentucky and never seen a strip mine, I don't know, it's kind of like Western-esque almost. There's no trees up there. Beautiful sunrise that morning. You guys are going to get to see that good sunrise. We're going to start you at 7 a.m. And then it's like right into the trees, you know, into the mountains, into the hollers and all these creek crossings and stuff. And I mean, I knew our area is special, but like after running, you know, no business. And I mean, I haven't done races out west, but every time we go out west, you know, I'm putting together like these big, you know, loops. And trying to run, you know, in Montana and Colorado and places. And I'm just like, this place is awesome, you know, and like we need more people here to see this. And if it means we're going to have a race to bring folks here, then we got to have a race.
Yeah. And that's one of the same reasons that we started War Daddy was like the area is too beautiful to not showcase it and let people get the same experience that we get on our training rides and hikes and runs, whatever. And like Merle said, we've traveled all over the U.S. We have either mountain bike, hiked, or ran in most states. And we seriously think Eastern Kentucky's got one of the best. So we got some of the best scenery, some of the best trails. I mean, it's going to be sweet.
It's going to be awesome, man.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about some of the training that you ran that day.
All right. So if you like climbing, you're going to love it. Because there's a bunch of big climbs. In my opinion, there's like, and go to our website, check it out. And if you want to read a lot, just read the course description. I knocked that thing out like 2 days after I ran it when everything was still fresh in my mind. It's like 7 or 8 pages long, but I think I kind of go over everything to expect. But you're going to have some big climbs that are from the creeks to the ridge tops. Once you're on the ridge, you know, there's going to be some up and down, and some of those are pretty legit climbs also. There's a mixture of 2-track, like old ATV trail, a little bit of side-by-side traffic, and then you're going to be on some single track that's, I mean, just dirt bike only and just rugged. Yeah, rugged is the right word. When I ran it this winter, there was still a lot of leaf litter on the ground, and man, it was like, I remember that single track section especially. You'll see that it's from the single track aid station to the Peabody aid station. There's like 11 miles of single track, and the leaves were like shin deep, and it was dark, and I'm like falling over stuff. But the good thing is in March, all that stuff's going to be packed in. I was up there actually doing some hikes and some training runs early this spring. I was like, golly, I wish we'd have run it in conditions like this. So that's going to be perfect. But long story short, you're going to have a little bit of everything. Up, down, ridge running, rocks, roots, super sweet, fast running, single track, a little bit of everything.
Yeah. And a little bit about the course itself as far as like the terrain, your the conditions and stuff like that. When Merle ran, it was miserable conditions. Like it was on New Year's Eve. It was cold. It rained for probably 30 hours.
A long time.
There was snow, sleet. I think everything you could have thrown in. High winds.
Yes.
There's nothing. I don't think you didn't see that day.
No, I forgot about the high winds. That morning was beautiful. It was like 65 and sunny, but there was at one point, it was so windy that I like pulled my earbuds out because I wanted to hear a tree crack, like when it was about to fall on me. And then the temperature just plummeted, and it was snowing by the river crossing there at Bear Creek. Speaking of all that, it took me like 34 hours. Don't let that get in your head at all. We've got a 35-hour cutoff on this race. That's super doable because I didn't come into this race in great shape. I think I'd ran literally maybe 5 times from the end of October to when I did this on New Year's Eve. So I walked probably
60 miles.
60 miles, legit. And still came in under 35 hours. And that was self-supported. You guys did an awesome job. But, it ain't like we had tables with food set up.
Yeah.
I'd come in and he'd be like, what do you want? We're fixing stuff. And
having to refill everything.
Yeah, we would sit in the truck for 45 minutes or an hour. So 35 hours is super doable. And I legit think the course is fast. Way faster than it appears on paper. There's going to be plenty of sub 24-hour times. Maybe not this year, but in time.
Yeah.
This is a super fast course.
Yeah, and you mentioned the trails that we have. There's a lot of the double track, so a lot of ATV style of trails, which we mountain bike all the time. And one of the things that I love about that, it gets more dirt bike traffic than anything else. So it's essentially like a single track.
It is. It's wide, but
there's always
track.
A good line to pick.
Yes.
There is a lot of baby head rocks that's out there. Be cautious about those. The leaf litter in the fall, winter, things like that. But there's typically always a good line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else? Anything that you can think of that will? What's something that's going to make this race special? Like why Warbird? What do you think is going to be special about this? You've done some other races. You've hiked all over the country, ran all over the country, whatever. So, what's going to make Warbird special?
Hospitality. I think 100%. I think that's why we got such a I don't want to say a cult following, but it's like a family reunion coming back to War Daddy. You see the same folks, and it literally is like a family reunion. Our folks will treat you like family. We're going to have a lot of aid stations. I got 15 aid stations in here. I want to make this course as doable and as enjoyable for everyone as I possibly can. So you're going to have plenty of places to restock, get something to eat, hang out, talk, cut up with the guys that are working there. I think the people, and then once you get here, if you've never experienced like what we just keep talking about, is just the beauty of Southeast Kentucky, you know, and the different terrain types, all the climbing that we have here and stuff. I think it's just going to be a combination of those factors, the people and the terrain and just everything.
Yeah.
And again, this is one of maybe the only big backcountry loop style 100-miler in Kentucky right now.
Yeah.
No biz does that, but it's in Tennessee and Kentucky. You're getting a big remote, and it's going to feel super remote to you. There's a lot of these places when you're ridge running that you're not terribly far from a highway, but when I ran it on New Year's Eve, I saw no one besides the folks that was crewing for me, or when I would come to a road section. That's the only time I would see anybody. I never saw a single person on the trail. 34 hours, backcountry, remote.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's one of my favorite things about going back home and training in Leslie County is how minimal the amount of people are as far as like on the trail. Or you can go out and do a 100-mile mountain bike ride or whatever. It's like you might see 2 or 3 people all day long. Like the gravel roads, there's minimal traffic. The trails, you might see one group of ATVs all day in a week. It's like there's just not many people out there. So it's you in the wilderness, backcountry, rugged. It's blissful out there. So we started off Warbird as just the Warbird 100.
We did.
We threw a big audible in here in the last week, and Merle can give you a little bit more information on that.
Yeah, so John and I, we've been on vacation together this whole week, and in full transparency, I was strongly opposed to adding any other distances to this, just because we're gonna do a great job, but we know we're gonna be all hands on deck trying to man all these aid stations and just work out the logistics of this stuff. But we had folks come up to us after the War Daddy bike race a couple weeks ago asking for shorter distances. And then this week when we started kind of doing some social media blasts, people just been texting, what about a half marathon? What about a 50K? So like, all right, you twisted our arms, you know, I guess we'll do it. So we dove in head first. We talked about this on Tuesday or Wednesday, and we figured out a way to make this work. So we're going to offer a 50K and a half marathon distance in addition to the 100-miler. Now, all of our 100-miler runners are going to be starting on Friday morning at 7 a.m. Saturday morning at 8 a.m. is when we're going to let the 50Kers and the half marathoners take off. And what you're going to do is you're going to be running the same start as what the 100-milers are going to be doing. That's going to be the same place they're finishing at too. So I said the 100-mile course is a big loop where you've got a short section, about an 8-mile section that you're going to do for the first 8 miles and the last 8 miles. So that morning, Saturday morning, our half marathoners and our 50Kers, you're going to be running past all of our 100-milers as they're coming in to finish. The half marathon route's going to go up to the first Knoblick aid station, and then we're going to kind of make a loop back so that you're not backtracking on all that same trail that you run out on. Our 50K runners are going to go to the Knoblick and then to the Rattlesnake aid station. You're going to take a trail, like a diversion on the trail, and then you're going to tie in with the 100-milers, and you'll be running the same direction as the 100-milers from that point on back into the finish. So not a legit like out and back. It's going to be more of a lollipop style.
Big lollipop, But I mean, that terrain in those areas, like even the lollipop, it seems so much different, you know, going the opposite direction. I mean, you may not even notice that you're on the same trail.
I don't think you will. No, not if you wasn't from the area. So
any final thoughts? Anything you want to add?
I'm just looking forward to talking to everybody when you come off of John Asher's and you're 22 hours or 35 hours in. And I want to hear your thoughts about what you think about it. Because I know when I came off that day, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I was full of pride and I cried a little bit, and I hope you all do too. Just tears of joy, not tears of pain. But it's going to be an epic route. Super excited that we get to bring you folks over to where we were raised and where we still go back to every chance we get to train and hang out, and to get to meet all the folks that we hang out with. So looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an awesome event. Can't be more excited to share it with everybody.
For more information, of course, check out the Trail Sick website. That's where we have the runner's guide, course description. It's a pretty lengthy course description. Merle did that just a couple of days after running, so it's super detailed. He did it while his mind was fresh on every single thing that he came across during the race or during his run. So it's super detailed, super informative. Some people like all the details, and they're all in there. So the crew stations, aid stations, all that mileage and stuff's on the website. And we've just added that half and 50K route option on there as well. Follow Trail Sick on Instagram and on Facebook. And then we have a Warbird Facebook page as well. We'll try to update that every time we get an opportunity. Anytime we've got more information, anything we need to post. We're going to be doing more of these. We're going to be doing a lot of Facebook or Instagram lives. More than likely, it'll be the Instagram lives. We'll be doing those maybe every couple of months or something like that leading in. So we'll have some question and answer sessions. So be jotting some of those things down. If you want it quicker than that,
holler at us.
Me or Merle, either one. Our information's on the website. Tag us, send us questions on Instagram, or email, either one. So
anytime, I don't care. I'll talk to anybody.
Anytime.
Be happy to talk to you if you got any questions. We'll put some more information on the website about that 50K and half marathon. I think John's got the routes up. I don't know if we have any text information on there yet. Again, it just kind of happened Wednesday.
We also have information up there about sponsorship if anybody wants to be a sponsor for the race and for volunteers. So if you want to volunteer, shoot us a message for that too, because we'll definitely be able to use the help. So I think that's it.
That's it.
All right. See you out at Warbird.